Nigel Farage has launched a tirade against Theresa May's Brexit deal, branding it pathetic and not acceptable, saying it will allow the UK to move on to the next stage of humiliation. The former Ukip leader posted shortly after the Prime Minister declared a deal had been struck. A deal in Brussels is good news for Mrs May, as we can now move on to the next stage of humiliation. He delivered his scathing riposte after a draft agreement to move Brexit talks on to Phase 2 was announced. Mr Farage told The Telegraph the European Court of Justice will be the ultimate arbiter of EU citizens' rights. This is not acceptable. Jean-Claude Juncker says sufficient progress has been made in Brexit talks. By admin speaking on LBC after Mrs May revealed on Friday there would be no hard border and the Good Friday Agreement would be upheld, he said the deal was pathetic. Mr Farage told Nick Ferrari it's pathetic. I knew when I heard saying live that the rights of 3 million EU citizens would be upheld by British courts. I knew she was lying then, because you find out that actually the European Court of Justice, and I quote from the document, will remain the ultimate arbiter of the rights of EU citizens, and that goes on for a further 8 years. Theresa May announced the deal with Jean-Claude Juncker on Friday. Reuters. What have we got from this? We have conceded a vast amount of money which the House of Lords Committee themselves we simply have no obligations to pay. The Brexit breakthrough was announced in a joint press conference in Brussels with the Prime Minister and European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker. Theresa May Brexit agreement guarantees no hard border in Ireland. By admin, Mrs May said the deal will guarantee the rights of more than 3 million EU citizens living in the UK and of 1 million UK citizens living in the EU. She added EU citizens living in the UK will have their rights enshrined in UK law and enforced by British courts. She also said no hard border would exist between the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland. White smoke in Brexit talks with no hard border in Ireland. Mr Farage continued, we will stay part of the European Court of Justice for a further 8 years, which is one of the key reasons people actually voted Brexit. And in terms in Northern Ireland, well, it looks a bit foggy, but given we're going into a transition phase, we will not be able to sign trade deals with any part of the world. We will not be able to make our regulations more competitive until at least the middle of 2021. But of course in reality it means this transition phase, but which I mean membership of the EU but not in name, is going to go on until the next general election. While opposition politicians questioned whether the deal would satisfy hard-line Brexiteers on Conservative benches, UK business leaders said they were breathing a huge sigh of relief.